All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Hernan, and I am the founder and chief volunteer for Apprentice Worldwide. And today is the day. Today is our last GIP 2023 event. I'm a little sad, but I'm also happy because these people work their butt off, not only with their executive assignments and their mentors, but also they came week after week to learn from CEOs about what business life is all about, right? They learn strategies about how to handle their finances, how to find their uniqueness. They learn about adapting to change. They learn about leadership. They learn about AI, incredibly, about the world of AI, and then they also learn from me about how to build relationships in their places of work, which is important for the future. And I cannot end without bringing this amazing new mentor to our to you, and I kept it as a secret because I wanted it goes with the theme of drinking, by the way, and I'm not promoting drinking, but responsible drinking and legal and responsible drinking. But most importantly, I wanted Jen to share about her life and her transition from from having dreams like you and I, right, in your ages, to becoming, a top lawyer. I didn't want to share that much, but you'll share your story and where your journey took you and what schools they took you, and then now in your entrepreneur journey and what you're doing there, and it's from a more strict, I guess, and more formal environment to a more fun, I guess, more fun, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Way of expressing life and having fun with life, and at the same time making some money, hopefully, right? So I'll leave you guys with Jen Morales, amazing human being. So
Thank you.
take it away.
Okay. I was going to say, Adnan, am I allowed to tell them how we met?
Well, maybe we don't have that much time for that, but we met at a bar in a place that I went to a Taylor Swift concert, and she was there, and we talked, and she said, "Oh, your accent, you must be from. We're not around here," and she happened to be from Puerto Rico, and then the rest is history. That's how we
But
met.
for the record, I was at the bar for a business meeting, and you
That's
just
right.
happened to sit next to me.
And I was same thing, same thing. It's just coincidence. There's no
Coincidence.
coincidence. You know, God
Yep.
brought us together, but
All
that's
right.
another story. Dale, mija.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So let me give a quick, I do have a few slides just for fun. Um, but quick background on me. So I've had a weird life. Let's see. So my family, both my parents are originally from Puerto Rico. It's how I recognize Hernan's accent. He looks like my cousin Beto. I don't know if I told you that. Um, and who lives in Miami, by the way. If you ever see someone who looks like you walking around, it's my cousin. Okay.
You told me,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I moved around a lot growing up, back and forth from the island to the mostly east coast of the U.S. But I went to 10 different schools in different places before college. I studied very hard. Ultimately, I went to Harvard for undergrad. I studied music and English. Thought I was going to go into music. Ended up going to law school. Too long of a story to explain how that happened. Although wasn't upset about it and had a really good legal career for about 18 years, both in Washington, D.C. and in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I live right now. And I've lived for about 19 years. But what happened was, you kind of get a certain place in your career. And if you're a creative person, you start to think about other stuff that you might do as well. And I did not start this journey thinking I would give up practicing law, although spoiler, I did. My license is active, but I'm not actively practicing right now. But I started essentially a side project with a buddy of mine who was a law partner of mine for many years. We frequently, we did happy hour, we did lunches, and we'd seen this concept that we thought someone needs to be making this for home use. And it was the concept was, which is, I'll tell you a little bit more about Mixicles in a minute, an ice cube that has no alcohol in it, but the ice cube has all the flavor. So fruit juices, herbs, whatever you want to, and then you put the ice in your beverage, and as it melts, it chills the drink without watering it down, and it flavors it. And you can play around with it and, you know, do all sorts of fun stuff. It's like building blocks, toys for drinks. And so we kind of just were like, what if we set aside a certain amount of money, which I've been able to save over my years of working my butt off in law, and just saw what we could do with this. And, you know, we'll give it a certain amount of time, a certain amount of investment, and then see what happens. Well, it took off, which is great. It's not to say that it's yet profitable. These things take a while, but it took off in terms of reception and business opportunity. So maybe I will share my screen now, if that's okay, Ednan. Okay. So what I have here, let me put, where's the share button? There it is. Okay. And then just confirm for me, please, when you see the slide. We good? Okay. So it's just to give an overview. There's not that many slides, but just a little bit of the story. So this is a picture of their ice cubes, right? All natural. There's nothing artificial in them. That's why we made them frozen. And let me go to the next page. This is essentially our statement, which, by the way, if you're ever pitch people, you got to be able to have that, you know, one-liner pitch people for money on what your product is. So we're ice cube mixers, and that's what makes us different. We're not in a bottle. We don't start in a bottle. We come, at least right now, frozen, and you keep them in your freezer, just like a popsicle without the stick. And since there's no alcohol in them, you can use them for mocktails, you can use them for cocktails, you can put them in smoothies, you can eat them plain. They're very versatile. So this is how they come right now, and I'm going to explain why I say right now, because stuff's always changing. But essentially, they're in a little pod. In fact, I have one here so you can kind of get a sense of the size. So there's my hand. There's the pod. And it's, you know, you decide how many cubes you want per drink. If you're mixing with responsibly with liquor, you would generally do 1 cube to 1 shot of liquor. But you could just put it in champagne. You could put it in seltzer, anything you like. So I want to just show you a little bit, though, how primitive we were in the beginning, because this started as a, you know, pipe dream in like late 2018. Okay. And my sister did a logo for us, which was meh. I bought these plastic Chinese food kind of takeout things, and I would put cubes in them. I had a sticker I printed on my computer with what the flavor was, and I would go around to different bars and restaurants and ask people to try them. I would literally offer to buy people drinks, and I made friends with a lot of bartenders and stuff, and I would get their input as well. And just to see, is this something people would be interested in, right? So lots of just street research, nothing paid, just, all right, again, very early concepts. We ordered some containers off Amazon, again, printed labels. And the problem with what you see on the left was if they were not kept really frozen, they would melt into just a puddle. And in fact, we had issues with one restaurant who was willing to give us a shot. The very first time we delivered, somebody put them in the fridge rather than the freezer, and it turned into just a gooey mess. Eventually we upgraded, and we found this the only thing we sourced outside of the United States. We went through Alibaba, of all places, to find ice cube trays that we could use. So again, this is still early prototype, but we needed something we could launch at least small with. And so that's what you see in the middle, and that's a prototype sort of a box that we were working with. And then we started to get some recognition. Again, super locally. This is just one little write up here. I think it's funny, best botanical ice cubes. There really isn't any other one, but I'll take it. That's my buddy Jason over on the left with me. We did an outdoor market. I mean, anywhere people would let us show up, even as long as I didn't have to pay to be there. I would give away free product, and I'd give my time. Again, just to build the buzz, build awareness, etc. On the right, we actually bought 2 freezers. That's one of them that we put in a store. That's a wine and spirit store in Cincinnati, because a lot of stores didn't have freezers. In the early days, we just wanted to get our foot in somewhere. So when people say, where can we find you? We could point them somewhere. So again, sometimes you got to spend a little, and also just like I literally had my husband and partner just roll this in there with me one Saturday. So there is no job too small. This is fun. So eventually, this was early 2021. We had an opportunity to pitch to Kroger grocery stores. They are based in Cincinnati, which might have helped. But we pitched them to be part of their supplier diversity program. I'm the majority, although I have a partner, I'm the majority owner. I'm Latina and obviously a woman. And they were willing to take a chance on us and brought us in. But there was no way that we could continue to do everything ourselves by hand at night on the weekends. So we had to find someone to make it for us. We worked with a food scientist, it's the woman over on the right with me, to help commercialize our formulas so they could be made at scale. And also this is when we came up with the single serve pods, and we worked to source those as well. And I'll just play this little video just so you can see how I was very impressed by. This is a rotary filler. And the little cubes get filled, they get the heat sealed, they come down the line, they get flipped, and that sanitizes the inside of the lid, and then they get date stamped on the bottom, and they come down, and they put them in the box. So anyway, it's super cool, and it was really fun to be there for our first production. Oops, sorry, my bad. I meant to go to the next page. All right, here we go. So it feels like it's been forever, and it has been a long time. And we're actually right now in the middle of a complete relaunch. But essentially just to give you a sense of time, from late 2018 to 2019 was just concept, trying out flavors, making stuff very much by hand, coming up with a packaging. Our earliest packaging, which you see in the second box over 2022, we had printed locally. Anytime you're doing small runs, which we did, it tends to be pretty expensive because usually there's economies of scale that we couldn't tap into. But 2021, we had built out during the pandemic days an online store. At first, it was just for local delivery and curbside pickup, but then we figured out by modeling after different frozen food manufacturers, ice cream, we figured out how to ship at least in the continental US. So we have an online store. We still have an online store. I welcome you to visit it. So we can ship anywhere in the lower 48. I actually recently did a test shipment to Toronto, Canada, and it went well. So we might be able to expand a little further, maybe PR and Hawaii. That's my hope. And then in 2022, that's when we rolled out into, it was about 340 stores, all in the Midwest, again, sort of where we're based and where Kroger's based. And everything, everything was going pretty well until, and this is where you can't plan for everything. Kroger got rid of the category we were in. So the way a lot of retailers work, especially groceries, they tell you, okay, we're gonna slot you here. And in our case, they said we're slotting you in frozen juice, and we were next to like frozen orange juice cans. And the only other drink mixer there was Bacardi, daiquiri, like you might pina colada, strawberry in a can. A very different product, but I guess they figured it's frozen, it's juice kind of. So, but they got rid of that category. They actually didn't even tell us, and they put us into breakfast food, and they put us next to Jimmy Dean sausages and pancakes, which you can imagine, even people who were looking for our product, who knew about it, had trouble finding us. But the chances of you get max 7 seconds of somebody's eyeballs at time in a store, max. The chance of somebody just happening upon our product behind a freezer door next to breakfast and think for drinks was just not gonna. We might as well have been in Siberia. And so this was when, and I'm getting to the end there because I'm sensitive to time, but Kroger approached us about, hey, what about developing something that's shelf stable that then the consumer you still put in your freezer, but when you buy it, it's not frozen. And so we've been working for the better part of a year because the R&D has been a bear. It's imagine what it's like to remodel a house and multiply it times 100. Like everything, it's just every single little detail, everything you have to figure out. And every time you move one thing, it influences or impacts everything else, like a domino effect. So we are, God willing, at the tail end of the whole redevelopment process and have identified a new production partner, because that was the other thing, that the manufacturer that I showed you the video of, they couldn't do what we needed for a shelf-stable product. And it was really important to me too that we're not adding any artificial preservatives, because again, part of our brand is that we're a natural product. And so if all goes well, maybe by the fall we'll be able to do a test production. The company that's going to work with us to make it is themselves a startup, and it's a new facility, and so they're working out kinks on their end. And so this is definitely the kind of thing. I'll wrap up and I'll put my info up in case anybody wants it. Oh, and I guess Twitter's now an X, but I like the bird. I'm sticking with the bird. But you have to be so persistent and resilient, but also smart. Like, you don't want to throw good money after bad. And we have definitely made mistakes along the way. And you have to be willing to take on risk. And I'm still feel that way. Like, I don't know sitting here today that where I'll be next year. I really hope it's in a good spot. I have some big plans, including what I really want to do is work with farms to upcycle ugly fruit or fruit that doesn't get sold to grocery stores because it's not cosmetically good looking enough. A lot of that gets either doesn't get picked, just goes to waste, or goes to landfill where it creates methane and climate warming, global warming gases. I want to find a way to source that fruit, because with us, once we process it and we put it in an ice cube, it doesn't matter what it looked like to begin with, as long as it tastes good. I have a lot of things I'd like to do, but long story short, if you don't have a strong stomach, maybe a little bit of I don't even know what the right word is. I said chutzpah once, even though I don't know. You don't become an entrepreneur. Because it is really hard, and some days you have no idea what's going to happen the next and how you're going to get it to the next milestone. And so it takes a lot of perseverance, and it's something that I might be on a little bit of the older side for doing a startup, in terms of I started in my 40s, not my 20s. But then again, I had I have a safety net that I was able to build up over the years before I started this. So I will stop there. I'll stop sharing my screen, and Matt, I don't know if you questions or whatever. Hopefully that was enough info, not too much.
No, well, again, I'm always amazed by the things that you have accomplished, and all the power and dedication that you have given to this business, because I know it's not easy, and you have young children as well, so you have to deal with juggling many hats, right?
Yeah.
So you have to deal with the family hat, and then the business hat, and then the community hat, and all these different hats. I guess, if you want to share a little bit about, maybe share about you, what is the driving force behind Jen's, behind Jen, and why are you, when you wake up in the morning, what's the thing that drives you? Because it's a lot, no?
It is a lot. I would say the biggest thing is I am a dreamer, right? And I've always been just very much like, I want to do things. It doesn't even matter so much what the thing may be. And it's changed for me over time. I mean, it's like, I really thought I was going to be a professional musician or a professor, and then I was a lawyer, and then now I'm doing essentially business. I also have a software company, but we'll put that aside. So I do that as well. That helps bankroll this one, by the way. It's a lot more profitable. But I think I like to be engaged. I like problem solving. I like challenges. I get bored really easily. I need a lot of stimulation. And the biggest thing is I just like it's like how I feel in a bookstore. There are more things to do in this life than we have years to live. There are more books to read than I have time to read. And so for me, without being, it's not like I only practiced law for half a year. I mean, I did it for almost 2 decades. But like having different chapters in one's life and being essentially like, I feel like I went back and got an MBA, even though I haven't gone to school for that. That's effectively what I've been doing. So it's constant learning, constant problem solving, and then accomplishing certain things and like really pushing yourself to think big and then achieve goals. That just provides a lot of satisfaction for me.
Yeah. And obviously, you put yourself out there every day, and promote. How can you, I guess, what advice would you give people hear about, putting yourself out there, and some of the things that you do as a woman, as a mom, as a Latina, you
Mhm.
know, to get
Yeah.
yourself, because I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy, especially in
No.
Ohio.
No, it's true. It's true. You have to, you have to have thick skin, right? I hate to say it, but especially, you know, brown skin, female appearance, anything like that, where you can clear, someone looks at you and clearly immediately is like, you're different, you're an other, your challenges are just that much more. Um, and frankly, even some of the programs, like for instance, Kroger's supply diversity program, whoops, my screen just went dark. That are out there that you think, oh, this is gonna help like sort of like balance out, the challenge, like the prejudices or other things I face. And it's not. I mean, I'm glad those programs exist, but the problem is that, there are still inherent biases and just, and a lot of times people aren't even aware of it, but they're just, if you just look at the numbers, for instance, venture capital money or private equity, what percentage goes to women or minority owned businesses versus white, male majority owned? I mean, it's minuscule, right? So this is stuff that it's not going to be just me who'll overcome it. I'll try to overcome it in my own world, but it's just like being persistent and hoping that other women, other Latinas, whatever, are doing the same thing, because eventually, maybe with time, maybe when my kids are older, maybe later, I don't know. Honestly, I thought we'd be further along in 2023 than, when I was in high school in the 90s. I'm old. I thought we'd be further than we are. And I actually feel like we've slid backwards a little bit at least, in the US in the last few years, just in terms of some of the headway I thought we'd made. But again, it's, to me, it's, if you have, for me, it's important to have a mission and a purpose and a vision, and just not let the naysayers or the doubters get to you, even though some days it does. And then it's important to have family, friends, or people who will let you, cry around them or something, right? And hold you up and say, no, you got this, you got this. Because sometimes you need the cheering, you need the cheerleading squad to keep going.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. So I'm gonna stop highlighting so that we can get the other people. Um, um, Jen, it's funny that you mentioned that, because this is really how I envision what we're doing here at Apprentice, because um, you know I like the word. So network is what we are. We have a global network, but I like the word in Spanish, red. No, red, and it's not the color red. It's red, which means net, and net, like web, right? And what I love about that is that you're building, stitching like a little spider. You're stitching your net, but in reality, you're stitching it so that when something goes wrong and you fall, you have somewhere to land. No, and this is the friends that we make along the way, the family that we appreciate, right? We appreciate it a lot more when we're in trouble, or when they're in trouble. We come to help them out. So I want you guys to know that whenever you see the Apprentice Worldwide logo, it's just funny because it's a cube like yours, right? Like a Mixicles. But it really should be in your eyes. It should be a home, right? I tell people, don't look at it as a square. Look at it as a home, right? Because that's the place where you want to go when you just want to kick off your shoes and go barefoot and just bare your soul. And this is what we do here, day in and day out for the past 9 years. And again, there's no coincidence there, right? I am big into faith. I'm big into noise from the sky, but I'm big into faith, and I know that there's no coincidence. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why all of us are here, right? That and you notice it in the interactions, because people care about you, and it's not about how much money you're making, or it's just how can we help support each other and make those dreams happen, right? And that's the beauty of it. um Jen, what advice would you give all these young youths, because they were just like you, right? They were just like you when you were 20. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give your old self?
I honestly, I would say don't. There's a great expression. Of course, it's not going to come to me now. It'll come to me later. Maybe I'll share it in WhatsApp. But it's like we sometimes limit ourselves unnecessarily, right? Or we create these boundaries or these things that, and we think that they're solid, and they're really not, And so I don't know. Just because you don't know how to do something, don't let that be a reason that you don't start doing it, because you'll figure it out. You will. You will. And you ask for help, and you look for guidance, and you do the hard work. Just the hard work is key. You got to put the time in. Sometimes, hours and hours and hours that you wonder how it's going to pay off. But if you do that and you stay focused on what, it'll come. But I would hate to see people, including myself, not start something just because it seems like, oh, how could I do that? Or that's too, I mean, everything starts somewhere with a person, right? It could be you.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I see some hands, some questions. I know people are eager to share. Yes, Comlin.
Well, Jen, thanks very much for the presentation. It was very, very inspiring.
Good.
So I read about your product a long time ago. So I get to have an idea of what you guys are currently doing in your company. So I just want to know, at what point in your life did you realize there's a need for it, like change your career path to something new? Because I was talking to Anam, I think about 2 weeks ago. So we're just talking about, personally, I studied chemistry. So for my bachelor's, I studied industrial chemistry. And now I'm studying analytical chemistry. So I understand how ice cream work, and I have basic idea of what's going on there. So, but I'm just curious to know, like, when exactly did you think or you felt there's a need for you to change what you're doing? I mean, your career path from what it was to what it is right now. Because I'm also in this kind of, I'm having this kind of doubt about my, probably going to the academia or probably switching to businesses, because I'm from Nigeria. So, and I grew up in a business environment. So so one part of me is saying, hey, come learn, study and get your PhD done. And one part of me is saying, no, I can't get this done any longer. When I'm done with my master's, I need to, find something new or probably get venture into business or think, or what I'm saying. So, and Anan was like, hey, okay, I met Jen sometime ago in Cincinnati. So she's your neighbor. So you can reach out to her. Yeah. So, and I did try to reach out to you back then, just, introduce myself. And so I just want to know, when exactly did you, like, oh, I'm done with this, I need to start something new. So how do you get inspiration?
That is a really good question. And I think it's gonna vary per person, but I'll tell you, for me,
Okay.
I'm obviously not risk averse, so I wouldn't be doing entrepreneurship, but I'm also not like crazy, throw all caution to the wind, spend my kids' savings accounts, etc. Right? Like, I'm not going to do that. So when I started exploring the idea, and frankly creating this business, I had intended to keep it as a side thing until either I ran out of the money I thought that I could invest in it myself, that I did, I had in my mind sort of how much I was willing to invest. Number two, I, if I got tired of it or bored of it, then, then maybe I'd let it go. And third, if we got somehow like a major opportunity, that I would take that as a sign. And so what happened for me personally, I had left law firm practice and I was inside of a company, in part because if you know anything about the legal world, when you're in-house with a company, you tend to have more set, regular, and predictable hours. And so I could count on having nights and weekends for my side business and my family. Whereas when I was at the law firm, I was like 24/7, at least on call. It was just much, much less predictable how I was going to be able to carve up my time. So I made that change. But then the pandemic happened. and I was in an industry, I was in the aviation industry at the time, where, as you know, that came pretty much to a screeching halt. And they were doing across the board cuts, layoffs. And I had already been thinking about leaving and just going full in to Mixicles. And this was actually before the Kroger thing. So it wasn't even that. It was just, I just felt that for it to be successful, and I was still really excited about it, I needed to dedicate, one of us, either me or my partner, needed to dedicate all our time to it. And so they basically made it so that I volunteered to be laid off, which is kind of nuts. But I did, and I negotiated severance. So again, I'm not a lawyer for nothing. I got myself a nice severance package, and I invested that in the business. And then a few months later, we got the Kroger deal, and it was like, I'm off. So that's why I said, it's like, I mean, that's a very personal, but it was a mix of like, I had certain things in my mind, certain milestones, and then it was, you know, life circumstances. And who could have predicted the pandemic? I mean, I certainly didn't see that one coming. If anybody did, you should play in the stock market or play the lottery. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. I hope to come around to say hi to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's about 40 minutes away.
Yeah, it's like that Back to the Future, the DeLorean, and having that little book that tells you about the all the sports games. Well, again, thank you, Jen, for taking the time to be here. I know it was kind of like last minute, but I wanted you to know how much I appreciate you and your friendship, and that I'm here for you, of course, and that my friends, your new friends, are here for you as well. Monica and Olu and these people, we hang out online and sometimes in person. But we take every opportunity to celebrate each other and our friendship and our lives. And really, that's what matters to us. It's just, jobs come and go, businesses come and go, but the people remain, no? And those relationships are the ones that matter to me the most. So thank you. Okay, Monica, one last thing.
Yes, Jen, I could have used one today for my Prosecco. I need a sample so I can recommend it to all the people here.
Let me know. Send me an address. I'll ship you some.
I will. I will be sending it right away. Thank you so much. It was very enlightening, and your story was absolutely inspiring. I think Hernan and I can say that we have been in up and downs through the financial industry ourselves. So we know what changing careers and changing jobs and shifting minds, and how every new opportunity, you feel that fear, but you do it anyway. And that's what gives you the drive. And then when you see the results, you are just, super pleased with yourself that you made that jump. That's what's most important. So I congratulate you for your endeavors. I'm excited to try Mixicles.
Yay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Bueno, thank you very much. Some housekeeping items. If you are part of Apprentice Worldwide, then go to apprentice.cc, and make sure that your profile is looking good. Please include any information about yourself if you want to promote. So that presentation, Jen, if you put it on your profile, that'd be nice. For those of you that are not members of Apprentice Worldwide, just click on Navigators and fill it out. Okay, once I read it, and Comlin and I and some of the staff reads it, I think you'll be good to go, particularly the people that have been with us for a couple of months already. So just, take advantage. Once you're in, you're in. You don't have to pay anything. I only kick you out if you do something horrible to other people, but most of the people have been with us. 99% of the people stay with us forever. Most importantly, I want you guys to know that we're here for you, right? We're your new friends, your new mentors, your new whatever you want to say. For me, it's been a pleasure to hang out with Paola this summer and get you guys together. And we don't end here, right? Paola is Boricua también, so we have obviously that in common. She's here in Florida now, but she'll be at some point in Puerto Rico as well. And she's gonna make her dreams come true, and we're gonna help her, okay? And then Lorena, Johan, Carla, my dear Carla, which I miss you over here. I miss the Russian and Ana Maria, all of you guys. I wish you all the best. Thank you for hanging out with me this summer. We'll do this again next year. In the meantime, we go back to our regular programming, which is just a little bit of making money, a little bit of coming up with ideas to move up in our career, but most importantly, opportunities to hang out more often. So that's what we're going to create. And then we're recruiting some people in Africa. We're recruiting people in Asia, all for us. By the way, it's just think about it. We're building a network for you guys, right? So that you can tap it in the future. Who knows? Maybe your next partner is in the Philippines, right? Lorena, you want to meet somebody in the Philippines? Guess what? Carla's in the Philippines. So there you go. You have your new contact there for life, no? Well, you guys met in ISEC. That's it, like cheating. But which reminds me, I have to talk to you guys about that project, okay? So you want me to spill the beans here, or you want me to keep it a secret?
Spill the beans.
The Millennial Career Expo is happening. Guess who's getting together to do it? Whoop, 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 whoop. So our leadership conference is going to happen. We're going to work on it. And I need to get Dr. Sungu focused because it's hard. She has 20,000 things. But, between AKSI, ASEC, and some other organizations at UM and at FIU, we're going to get the Millennial Career Expo. The date, TBD. We have the place, which is the Band Shell in Miami Beach. It fits 800 people. I think we can pack it. We'll see. And Mo is in charge of packing it. So we'll see. And Jen, I'll let you know ahead of time so you can hang out with us in Miami. Any questions? Guys, back to regular programming, apprentice.cc. If you haven't been there, check your profile. Don't Google yourself. Just check, see if it's okay. And if not, just change it and update it. Put a nice picture, put your resume, put pictures. You can post anything that you want. This is what I show people eventually that are part of our network when they want to meet you. So no longer do we have the questionnaire, Carla. Remember when you filled out a questionnaire? It'll be an apprentice.cc as well. So, that way we have a place where people can get to know each other. Guys, cheers again. Nos vemos in the next one, okay? Cheers.
Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Hernan.
Bye.
Bye.
Se fue, pero no lo
Thank you.
regaló. Yo le dije que me regalara un cubito de eso, pero no. Hay que pedírselo. Bye, nena.
Chao.
Good job. Nos vemos.
You too. Bye-bye.